How's it going, guys? For the first episode of AP Productions, Ashiv, Pooja Productions, I would like to introduce Pooja, the mortgage queen with 6 years experience and now just at the highly renowned Madison Mortgage. We say we're cousins, but we're really just two brown people with the same skin tone. My cousin Pooja!
My cousin Ashu.
What's up, Pooja? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. This is new. This is
Yeah,
exciting.
I like this. This is really nice.
Yes. So let me start off. How did you get into the mortgage industry?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I always told my mom and my dad that since I grew up, I just want to talk and make money. That's all I want to do. So, my mom's a hairstylist, so she's on her feet all day. And I was like, I could never do that. Like, even though it's fun, but like after one client, I'm dead. So
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to talk, make friends, make money like that. So this kind of worked out really well. And after college, I studied finance. I learned the value of money. And then, I was like, if I can bring other people wealth, why not? That'd be fun.
So before you got into the industry, you were already pretty financially literate yourself.
Yeah, I have a degree in finance from Brook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an esteemed college.
Yeah, it was fun, and it was very rewarding. Kind of had to teach yourself a lot, and I love restructuring people's debt now. It's really weird to say, but it's actually so fun. I feel like I'm in a game show sometimes when I'm doing a refinance and people are saving like $1,000 a month and getting 50 grand. I'm just like, this is unreal, and it really changes people's lives. So it's cool.
Yeah. Does that make you feel like you're bigger than what you are or more valuable to the world, the state than what you would have normally thought beforehand because of how much you've helped people?
I wouldn't say more valuable. I think everyone brings value in their own way. Like especially during COVID, we saw like essential workers, how important, just
Mm-hmm.
even anyone at a cafe is, like I value everyone's profession has a part in society for sure. So I wouldn't say
Absolutely.
better. Yeah.
Absolutely. So my intro into the real estate is really because I've always had the dream of investing into real estate. So during one of my semesters in college, I had some free time on my hands,
Mhm.
and I decided that it would be a good investment to get my real estate license.
Yeah.
This way I could be in the game as a middleman.
Mhm.
I would be the agent. I would represent people in buying, selling, investing, renting, whatever the case may be. And then while being in the game, I would learn the game. So by the time I would be able to make a move, I would know what move to make, how to make it, and at least I would just have knowledge on my side.
For sure. Yeah, it's good. If you're an investor, it's really handy to have your real estate license because you have access to more things. So, and knowledge, of course, the
Absolutely.
process. Do you want to
Well,
talk a little bit about the process? What is the process of,
becoming an
purchasing a
agent?
house?
Oh,
Purchasing
purchasing
a
a
house,
house?
yeah.
Okay, so purchasing a house, first things first, you need to actually get pre approved yourself. If you're not able to buy the house in all cash, then you need to go to a good loan officer, a good lender. Pooja, if you'll plug her Instagram, her whatever she
The
needs to.
mortgage poo right here.
The mortgage queen. But you go to a mortgage queen, a real estate king, and essentially the job of a realtor is to scan the market, understand what prices are fair for certain houses that are on the market.
Mm-hmm.
There are houses that go for $1 million that are really worth $750,000.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a client with a lot of money and they see the house, they say, "Oh my God, it's $1 million. Let me just buy it." The job of a realtor is to say, "Okay, let's slow down. Let's see the house. Let's see if there's any problems with it. Let's see if what the actual particular value of this house is compared to houses with other specs which are similar, and then let's come up with a price that's competitive, but definitely not a price that you never want to overpay for something, and you always want to be fair, and you always want to get that sweet spot where it's
It's
above."
nice to have an Indian person on your team when it comes to that. Yeah, you're really
Amen.
good at negotiating and making sure that your client is not overpaying. So would you say you're working more with like the buyer side at the moment?
At the moment, I'm more on the buyer side. I have a couple things I'm working with. So, yes, the goal is to eventually get on the seller side as well.
Mhm.
So, Pooja, I wanted to ask you about a few things.
Okay.
Don't look too shocked. That's what we're here for. But I know that you personally have invested in real estate, so I'd like for you to talk about that experience.
Okay.
Any profits, any squatters, just whatever you may have dealt with during this process.
Okay, that's a good question. So that was definitely a trip. Investing for the first time is really interesting because so I was doing well, in mortgage business for a couple years. I was about 24, I believe. And I started an Airbnb business in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, at the same time as getting an investment property to buy in Connecticut, right near Yale. So I couldn't decide if I wanted to sub rent, like basically rent arbitrage. So you rent a place and then you Airbnb it, as long as the landlord is okay with it. But you would just basically, let's say you pay $2,500 a month for rent, and then you would Airbnb it with potential to make about 5 grand or so.
So is that a question you asked the landlord before you bought the house or the seller before you bought the house?
That's not the one I bought. So I'm talking first. Let's talk about rent arbitrage.
Okay,
Okay,
let's talk about
so
that.
rent arbitrage. I had a house in Florida that I rented out for about 2,500 a month or so, and then Airbnb'd it for uh, let's say 18 days out of the month. The way I calculated that it would be a good investment was you see the occupancy rate in that area. You can use websites like AirDNA, and there's different websites where you can do research to see what's the occupancy in certain areas. So let's say they say it's 18 months, 18 days out of the month. You would multiply 18 days by your monthly rate, I mean your daily rate, and figure out how much you're going to make that month, and then subtract it from your rent and expenses, and you would cash flow a little bit. So it was nice. Some months it was really empty because Florida gets empty when it's really hot over there. Spring break was awesome. It's always booked. People were like begging me to like book it. I ended up not renewing my lease over there because some people, there's a lot of YouTubers and stuff that make videos and do crazy things in the house.
Oh wow, you dealt with that?
I did. Somebody cracked like 30 eggs in the driveway, and
What?
it was really hard to get rid of on the cement. I was like, I'm not built for this. But
Oh my
basically
God.
it was fun to do because it was like fun to go there, set it up, and you make money, a little bit. So and you learn things. The most important thing in investing, especially when you're in your 20s, is you have to be okay with a little bit of loss. You have to be okay with the risk because you're gonna learn a lot, which is gonna take you way farther. So, I learned a lot. Rent arbitrage, taught me a lot.
And with using the rent arbitrage strategy, how often would you go to Florida to check up on the property?
I actually had a property manager,
Okay.
so he would do it for me. It was nice. Shout out Kai Christopher. I'm gonna tag him.
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah.
You might as well. Everybody eats over here.
Yeah, so he was cool and he took care of a lot of things for me, dealt with a lot of headaches for me. The craziest story, not the craziest story, but one story that I have from that was I had a woman that came into the house and then she asked me for a refund. And I was like, why? Like, what's going on? And she was like, my husband feels like there is a certain energy in this house, and yeah, basically saying there's a ghost in the house, and she wanted a refund. So I was like, you know, like I can feel you. And I was ready to almost give her like a whatever, a rebate on it. And Kai was like, no.
Yeah,
Kai was like, no.
you stood strong on your boundaries.
Yeah, it takes me, it's really hard for me to actually stick down on my boundaries, because as a woman, I feel like we're more emotional and like we empathize with
You
people
care more for people,
a
yes.
lot. And sometimes people take advantage of that. So it was nice to have Kai actually helping me with property management. I'm not saying women are not good landlords, but me as a woman, I was very emotional. And I've seen women that are really good landlords where they are not afraid to tell people, to get out of here. Yeah, like they're not scared. So, and then I had a house in Hampton in Connecticut.
Okay.
Shout out Moose. He helped me buy that as well in Connecticut. But basically, we found a house on FaceTime. Literally, I saw it on FaceTime. I loved it. It was nice.
Wow.
And it was in a good neighborhood. So I learned that you can rent out to nurses, travel nurses, especially if you're near like a college. Usually, the college has a hospital right nearby. So you can rent out to travel nurses, and they're the best tenants. They always take care of your house. They're there to sleep.
So was this a duplex? Were you
It was a
able to?
single family.
So you could rent out the house once at a time, or would you able to rent out different parts at the same
It's a
time?
little tricky per state. Everyone has like different guidelines on how they can rent out in a single family. Under one lease is usually better. If everyone's on one lease and they're co-signed together, that's the best way to do it. But yeah, that was definitely interesting as well.
So during this
Always
time,
stories.
not to cut you off, did you have to get in contact with a real estate lawyer to work with you just to make sure you were protected in all from all different avenues?
Mostly you have insurance, so
Okay.
as long as you have a good insurance. I had an insurance that was good for short-term rentals called proper insurance, which was nice. But yeah, you have to just make sure. Insurance is also very tricky. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to pay if anything happens, but thank God nothing happened. I didn't, I was in Fort Lauderdale for about a year, and then for the Connecticut house about 2 years. Um, Put some money into the house and sold it for a profit, so it was good.
Okay, so you sold off both, or you stopped renting out the Florida
Yeah,
property,
so
and
now I'm
then
gonna be looking in a different area. Maybe different states have different like properties. I'm seeing Georgia really like have nice property values, and New York, like upstate New York, is really nice too. And of course, in Long Island, I want to buy a house to live in. But right now, living with parents because it's a lot easier in New York to live with parents right now. So
the last time we met, you had mentioned that you wish that your family would be willing to sell the house that you own. Why is that?
Yeah, my dad is just very attached. Sellers are typically very attached to their property, especially if you've been there for 30 years, that you have a lot of memories there, friends that are around. So it's hard to like make that change, to leave. So my dad is very like stuck in his ways. He loves his house. He doesn't want to leave. But we could, easily, like right now, a lot of people are moving from Queens to Long Island. You're selling off your house, getting, 800, 900,000 for it or more, and then being able to buy a bigger house in like Suffolk or deeper in Long Island, like Farmingdale. You can tell other areas where you get way more bang for your buck.
Oh, I love out east.
Yeah.
I love out east. You go to Coram, Babylon, Amityville,
Mm-hmm.
Port Jefferson. You get something so beautiful
Port
out there
Jefferson is
for
beautiful.
yeah, yeah, lots of nature.
And a
So
big backyard. But yeah, it's people have to kind of see that where they're able to live, be comfortable and
yes,
be able to live comfortably, like can kind of adapt. Like, there's one thing about connection, you get really attached, but I'm happy that I sold my house in Hamden. Now I was able to, get the money out of it and move on and not be stuck in that house. Of course, holding on to homes is a great thing as well. Like building generational wealth, it's good to hold on to a house, but also know when to move on and reinvest your money and, make the most of it.
also, as an investor, it's always wise to leave while you have profit,
Yeah.
because it's one thing if you're staying in a house that's an appreciating value,
Mm-hmm.
and even if it doesn't appreciate, that's your home. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll be okay for a couple years that it's down in the market. If you're investing in a property, it's 5 years, and you've already had close to a 50-60% return in value for your house, then that would be the best time to sell it because you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen. And for an investment, it's always good to sell while you have profit, and then you could use that profit to invest into another investment, or just use that for another business venture or to enhance your life however you see fit.
Mm-hmm. Or invest in stocks too. Stock market is pretty fun right now.
See, this is the finance major. It's good to be financially literate.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about using your equity to make more wealth for you, even if you're, let's say you're getting a home equity line of credit or you're getting a cash out refinance or you're selling your house and taking some of the money maybe for your pocket, buying into the market. Some people believe that it's good to take like a good chunk, like $10,000, and throw it into one stock at one time if that's all you have to play with. You should definitely hold on to some money and daily cost average. So let's say you like the stock Nvidia. This is not financial advice, but
No,
let's say
not financial
this is
advice.
not financial advice. But if you like Nvidia or you like Apple, whatever the stock may be, you should buy in like daily cost average. So split your money amongst different days, different weeks. I usually put a recurring investment every week. Just
Every week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like you're spending money on lunch, like or whatever, a nice dinner, whatever.
Absolutely.
You can just split that money amongst stocks, and you won't even feel it. And it has a recurring investments happening by itself, and it's growing your portfolio on the side. And it's buying at different prices. So it's buying when it's high, low, medium, and that's kind of keeping you at a profit.
I well, I forgot the name of the term for this, but what I like to do is place in some investments where I put it in through my app with the brokerage, where as soon as the price dips to this price, or as soon as it exceeds this price, I buy so on stocks of shares. I buy a certain amount of shares as soon as the stock price hits a certain
You
price.
set a limit, basically.
Yes, yeah. Stock limit, Yeah.
That's good. So I wanted to ask you, this is something that I like to ask a lot of people, but what's like one motto that you live by, or what's one mantra that like stays in your head that you follow?
Well, it's funny you asked that because it's a very good question.
Thanks.
The energy you put out is the energy you get back. And I learned this lesson completely yesterday. So on my way to the office, I end up in a road rage incident. Not the proudest of this, but some guy was honking at me in a way he shouldn't have, and then
In a way he shouldn't have,
and then
everybody.
and
Don't
then
honk the wrong way at Asha.
and then
Noted.
he cut me off. So instead of just turning into my parking lot like a normal human being, I started tailing him and honking at him. And then he cut off to the side of the road. I looked at him dead in his eyes and said some not very nice things to him. And then I drove to go into my parking lot. He tried to follow me, and essentially the cars cut him off from coming to me and that turning into a real altercation. Now, the reason I say this is an hour later, I end up getting a very nasty phone call where I get cursed out.
Hmm.
I was feeling a way about it because I didn't feel like I deserved the phone call I got, especially because the situations were completely different. But once I was able to gather myself after I hit the gym, my emotions were more on a neutral level. I realized the energy you put out is the energy you get back.
For sure.
Even though this was quote unquote unrelated, it was related because the energy I put out came right back to me an hour later from a different avenue. So I believe heavily in that mantra, heavily into karma, just overall spiritual person. What you put out, you get back.
For sure. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I believe in that too. Karma, what you put out is what you get back in good ways and bad ways. So that's a cool way of thinking of it in terms of a bad way, because usually people say it in a good way, like, oh, and my boyfriend says this a lot. He says karma is a mirror. So like whatever you put out there, it's gonna come back to you. Maybe.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite fighters said that. He said karma's not a bitch, she's a mirror.
Yeah.
So you get what you deserve.
That's pretty cool. Mine is like be where your feet are. So being present and mindful of where you are right now. I used to have this habit of I'm on a call and like another person calling me, I would put that person on hold and answer the other call. But I learned from one of my managers, a mentor that I really respect, that basically, they can wait. Everybody else can wait. Whoever you're with right now, put your all into them while you're there, and then move on. And then you can give the next person your all, rather than undivided attention.
It's funny you say that as well because that's a lesson I've learned and I've tried to compartmentalize certain avenues in my life so I can be all in whenever I'm there. So work time is work time, lead gen is lead gen, gym time is gym time,
Yeah.
and fun time is fun time. Don't get me wrong, sometimes those worlds have to bleed into each other, but it would be better if you had a time specifically for work where you don't put any BS into it. There's no fun, there's no YouTube, there's no this, there's no that. And then when you're able to have fun and let loose, you block off anything else. Now, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, especially when you're young and you're really growing and you're trying to build something for yourself, work time is work time, work time is every time. But trying to have separate categories for different things, at least for your personal life when you can, I believe is the best option, especially if you want to be as productive as possible. Because not the amount of work you put in, it is, but it's also the quality of work which really matters.
Yeah,
and the
sure.
consistency.
Yeah, that's why I also like I used to work from 8:30 to 6, and doing that consistently every day, it gets very tiring and you get burnout. You deserve to
Absolutely.
have a break and kind of pour into yourself, touch grass, and like kind of
Absolutely.
be more mindful of your presence in the world. But working, if you come in from 12 to 4, let's say, but you do the amount of work that you need to do that is efficient, that's more important than just being there all day and kind of being distracted. But I also like the mantra slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Have you heard of that
Yes,
one?
I heard it now.
Yeah. So basically, it's pretty cool because I am also another person. We're in New York, where like time is like you're just
It's the culture.
moving,
It's the
so
culture.
when you slow down and you do things, it's so much smoother. And apparently, they use that a lot in the military, because when they're practicing taking out the ammo from the gun, I'm not that familiar with the
Yeah,
words,
me
but
neither.
when you're taking out the ammo and you're practicing like putting it in smoothly, they rather than doing it so fast that it's jamming or whatever, that creates more complications, but doing it slowly and smoothly is more efficient. So even in anything you do, take your time with it. Like especially when I talk to clients, sometimes we're on the phone for 30 minutes an hour because we're just talking and really getting to the root of what their goals are. They come in the door thinking their goals are, I just want this much money, or I just, whatever their goals might be. Let's say they want to do home improvements and they think they only need 40 grand. Come to know it, their daughter's getting married, their car is breaking
You know
down,
what I was
you know.
thinking? So, you've been a lender for 6 years now. Could you see yourself as a lender forever?
Yeah, honestly,
So,
I don't
next,
see why I would not ever do this.
nice,
You know,
next 10 to 20 years down the line, this is going to be your game. The mortgage queen is just going to keep growing.
yeah, that's the goal.
Could you see yourself coming out with your own brokerage, your own lending company yourself?
That's a good question. I mean, um, we'll see.
We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised.
We'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised. So, what motivates you the most?
Oh, that's a good question too. What motivates me is financial freedom, having the ability to do what I remember now what I wanted to say. Okay, so having the ability to do what I want to do when I want to do it, that's really important to me. Especially when I was working a job, like sometimes on my days off, I would take a sick day, and then people are like, oh, let's go to the beach or let's go to the gym or something. And I would feel bad like going there. I'm like, oh, I should just log into my laptop and start working,
Hmm.
whatever. So I felt like my time was super borrowed. So now I feel like, the most important thing that motivates me is being able to get out there, have fun, connect with people on a real level, not where I'm just dialing to literally like, get a sale or anything. I'm actually just talking to you because you're my friend. And whenever you need me actually, for a mortgage pre-approval and you need a realtor, then I have all the tools to give you
Genuine
basically
connection.
genuine connection. Another thing that motivates me is my parents are immigrants, so they actually didn't get the freedom to sit and think about their mental health and sit and think about like what I like to do for fun that much, because they were always on the grind. Like my
Yes.
dad drove a taxi and then he drove Uber. Now he's retired because he was very good at managing his money, which is
Nice.
important also.
Indian quality.
Yeah. So, but my mom, she's bougie. She is a hairstylist. She's still going, and she loves buying expensive things and whatever shiny things.
Yeah,
But
shout out to your mom real quick. The best hairstylist in
best
Long Island.
hairstylist,
That's
yes,
actually how we know each other.
yes. Don't
No,
look at me
we're
right now. I
cousins,
did.
but yeah.
But yeah, learning from them that they didn't get to have the ability to kind of relax and sit with themselves and find themselves as much. I want to have the ability to do that. That's kind of the point. They brought us here in America and to do things differently a little bit.
That's one thing that being well traveled really teaches you. You understand the value of being born as an American citizen and the leg up that you have on the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you
Leg
see
up. What do you mean by that?
when you go to countries and you see little kids that are homeless that don't have the opportunity to go to school,
Mm-hmm.
they don't let alone even find dinner for the night, and then
Yeah.
you look at your situation. We lived a very soft life compared to the rest of the world as Americans in most Western countries. That's just the way it is, and we're very blessed for that, very blessed for that. But most people don't understand that. Most people, they spend most of their days complaining about what they don't have without valuing what they do. I'll be honest, we might cut this part, but it's a very American quality. It is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, expand more on that. Like, so you think Americans? Yeah, I mean, it's true.
I think we have
And
the
not even Americans. I think it's just people these days. I mean, even now, what's becoming more and more popular, especially with AI coming out, everyone used to want the jobs, the office jobs. You want to be an engineer, you
yeah.
want to be an IT, whatever, tech sales, and that, which is still really fire. Shout out to you guys. But a lot of people are seeing now that the more lucrative and financially stable
Positions
positions,
are in the AI.
not in the AI actually. It's
Not in the
more in
AI.
like plumbing and contracting and more
Oh
like
yes, yes,
labor intensive work.
yes.
So that's actually what's crazy. Like even UPS was giving like drivers six figures.
But yeah, because you're always gonna need that.
Walmart is giving managers six figures. So those places are actually hiring more where people have this idea in their head that no, my son has to be an engineer, my son has to be this, but sometimes and my son has to be my son's in finance. People love saying that, but like
Yeah,
they're the first people getting laid off. So instead of just being a number, having a skill is like so important these days. like a skill, like even being in the real estate business, you have a skill of talking to people and being able to connect with people. Not everyone has that skill, and
Hmm.
then of course, plumbing and labor intensive people have their own skills, which that's unbeatable. Like you can replace that. You can try to replace that by anything, but
I don't
AI,
think it's
it's not
replaceable.
replaceable. It's something that like someone's bringing that work ethic to you, and not everybody has that work ethic either.
Yeah,
You know?
they are the true essential workers, along with the nurses, doctors, cops,
Yes.
military.
Yeah.
Like these are the people that honestly, these are the people we should really value the most in society. I
Hmm.
don't think they get the most value at all,
Yeah. No,
but
it's
they
definitely
deserve it.
important to, yeah, especially nurses. I remember my grandpa, he, rest in peace, during COVID gave the nurses the hardest time.
Of
Like
course
he
he
was
did.
so rude to them, like not rude to them, but like he would give them a hard time. Like he would mess with them because he's bored. He's
And
old and
also, people tend to take their frustrations out on the ones closest to them.
yeah.
So
But the nurses came to the funeral and they were
they
crying their eyes
did.
out.
Oh
They were
wow,
like so sad to see him go. I mean, I have chills, but like they were so like
wow.
close to him still. Like they appreciated him. So like I see that as like that you're so strong. Like you don't you they understand people so much to the point where they understand if this person's being rude to me, it's not because it's a bad person. It's because of the situation
It's a
that he's in,
reflection of what they're
and they
going
can still
on.
care for that person. That's like
Yeah.
that takes a lot of strength rather than road rage. You get mad at somebody like, hey, you cut me off the wrong way, but like, we could learn from everybody, and like nurses, we learn a lot from, especially. So, shout out nurses.
Shout out nurses. Shout out
I'm gonna tag a couple of
teachers.
my nurses, my
Yeah,
nurse
you
girls.
should.
Yeah.
You should. You should. You should. So, since you've been in this industry for about 6 years, you've gone through a lot of the growing pains. And from the little bit of personal information I know about you, you've become quite successful for yourself at a young age. Do you believe that has affected your personal life? And do you feel like you've had any jealousy from friends, former friends, colleagues that you grew up with?
Wow, that is a loaded question. That's actually crazy.
I came prepared.
Damn. Damn. All right. So start with the first one. You said, do you feel like
I said, how has success affected your personal
how
life?
has success affected my personal life? That's a great question. So, um, hobbies. I want more hobbies. I mean, now that I'm, more free and I'm a broker and I get to be on my own timing a little bit more, I learned the value of having hobbies. Actually, before I left my 9 to 5, my boyfriend asked me, "Oh, what are your hobbies?" And I was like, "Real estate
Mhm.
is my hobby," which, yeah, obviously I
It's your
love it. I'm
life.
passionate about it, but like you should have other things that, come to mind when you talk about hobbies. That's where I have my clients, I have referrals, I have, people that are just kind of coming to me now. I don't have to kind of go to them anymore. I did build that foundation, and now that I have that, I have more freedom. So I can talk to someone while I'm driving, or I'm out and I'm at a carnival and I'm just taking a call like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna set up a time for you for tomorrow, and like, like we have that connection where it's genuine, and I don't have to be at a desk at all hours. I can kind of get to know you on the phone, on the go, and still give you that 100% attention, but also have hobbies and have more to talk about with my clients. I actually go places with my clients sometimes after we close. We explore different restaurants, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, me too. But now to tie back to my past question, with the success, have you found that jealousy comes with it as well?
Um, so jealousy, I really like the topic of jealousy because so people have jealousy as like a very negative like connotation.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually just a natural human emotion,
Yes,
and like no matter what you say, you can never say that you're not jealous of
I
something like
agree with
ever
that.
in your
I
life,
agree with that
like
100%.
let's say I see you eating ice cream and I'm hungry, I'm jealous you have ice cream, like whatever, it's a natural emotion. But in terms of jealousy, I don't know certainly if that is the case because I'm a Scorpio, so I'm very quick to kind of just move away from the people if I don't feel a good vibe. And from now, let me phrase this the right way. But I like to make people around me grow. So whoever is with me is people that are willing to hear criticism. They're
Absolutely.
willing to also give me criticism, but like it's in a healthy way where we can both learn from it and grow from it,
Not in a
and
vindictive way.
not in a vindictive way. And you have to just kind of be honest with people sometimes about like, okay, your goal is X, but what are you doing to get to X? I don't want to hear people saying that they want to do this and that. Like one time, my cousin, she's like, oh, I was saying something about I'm gonna be on a beach sipping a margarita or something like that, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's the dream. That's a dream." I'm like, "It's not a dream. It's a goal. I mean, a dream is basically a goal is a dream that you write down and you make it happen. You know,
Yeah,
that's I'm a really firm believer of that. There's
me
nothing
too.
there's nothing that's unattainable. Like if you want it to happen, if you're serious about it and you write it down and you make that your goal, automatically the path will flow to bring you there. So
Absolutely.
there's this book, I'm not sure if you ever read, it's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
I
And
believe you told me about that.
that book has changed my life so much because it tells you basically the science of manifestation.
Okay.
And it says, okay, so your thoughts create reality because your thoughts are energy, and energy is basically creating atoms essentially, and atoms are creating reality. So, if you have in your head that, you're gonna be a realtor, you decided that, now you're gonna automatically
Move
take the
as the
steps
successful
to be there.
realtor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why it's important to surround yourself with the right people
Mm-hmm.
who work towards your goals. Because there are many people who just live a pipe dream. They talk about how they want to be a millionaire, and then they wake up, they sleep in, they do drugs first thing in the morning, and they just spend their day watching TV and just doing bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll always have a great conversation of all the great things they're going to attain
Mm-hmm.
while moving nowhere near what they're trying to actually attain.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be around productive people who are goal oriented and actually willing to do the work. Because there is the law of attraction, which is true, but there's also the law of alignment. You
Mm-hmm.
also need to do the work and align yourself with your goals to make sure you actually attain them.
That is so true. Yeah, right. That's true. You can't just write down the goal and expect it to happen or fall into place by itself. You have to
And
definitely
just
put
go
the
to
work
sleep
in.
and
Yeah, and like surrounding yourself with those people that are gonna, be in the room. I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room.
no,
Never, because you want to always learn from somebody else. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're not. You're stuck at a ceiling.
yeah.
Even though there's different things you can learn from other people, but in certain aspects of what you're looking to do, whether it's growing your career and networking, you want to be in the room with someone that knows a little more than you so you can learn from them.
Yeah, pain is growth.
Pain is growth.
Yes,
Pain is growth, or growth is pain.
pain is growth. Pain is growth. You need pain to truly grow.
Mm.
That applies to all aspects of life. It applies to working out. You
Mm.
need to hurt your
Okay.
muscle tissue. You need to really bleed for it
Yeah.
to really grow. When it comes to career objectives, living your dreams, honestly, the pain of failure and disappointment is creates the best room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I live by that as well. Pain is growth.
Yeah. Shout out Mo actually taught me at Keller Williams. Having that dream, like, oh, I want this fancy house, I want this and that can only get you so far. But like having something like your why, your biggest why, what is the reason that you do everything, that really kind of makes you move faster. So what is your why actually?
My why is a culmination of things. I would say the most important reason is that my mom is taking care of me my whole life. She's still doing so.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is to eventually take care of her. I don't want her to have to work. I
Yeah.
want to be able to take care of everything. And I just want to be able to do what I want when I want with her, have good health, and just travel the world, um, enjoy life to the fullest, doing the things I love to do,
Mm-hmm.
which I've been blessed to have been able to already start that. I got to study abroad last year.
Oh, where did you go?
I went to Rome. I was
Oh, that's
studying
so
in Rome.
beautiful.
It was out
Wow.
of this
How
world.
long were you there for?
About 6 weeks.
Okay.
About 6 weeks. I traveled all over Italy, Europe. I hit 9 different cities in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of walking, a lot of steps.
A lot of steps and a lot of eating too. A diet full of pizza and gelato, and I ended up coming back here and I lost 3 pounds.
That's crazy. But that's the thing. Like when you're eating in different countries,
Yes.
you don't get as inflamed, and like your gut doesn't just sit with your food. Like it actually digests way better because it's just so much more natural. That's why honestly, I kind of want to move out of America at one point.
That would be nice. That would
Yeah.
be a very nice change of things just to see the world and live
Yeah.
a different life.
And it's cheaper. You can save a lot of money. There's a lot of cities that actually promote, like if you spend like a certain amount of time in that country, like let's say you make like a contract or something, I guess that you're gonna live there for 5 years or 10 years, and
Yes.
you're gonna get like certain amount of money per year to live there, like some aid because they're trying to grow the communities over there. So it's cool.
So how are you feeling, Pooja? We just did our first podcast.
Honestly, it went a lot better than I expected. Because
So
I honestly expected to be really shy about speaking and everything, but it's been like really cool. Like, you're really actually easy to talk to. We don't talk that much, you know,
no,
being
we
cousins and
don't.
stuff, but like working all the time and stuff. But like, I think we had really good conversations.
I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, well, nice talking to you. Hopefully, you do this again. Well, not hopefully, but we are.
We will.
Stay tuned for next time.
AP Productions.